Breathe in gently. Settle your body, and let your mind soften as we enter the quiet world of philosophy. Before we step into the depths of Simone de Beauvoir's ideas, a small reminder. If you enjoy calm, reflective explorations like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps this space grow, and it ensures you won't miss any future meditative philosophy journeys. Now ease into the sound of silence. Imagine the world dimming round you, like a candle slowly lowering its flame. You are entering a place older than memory, the place where thought begins. Tonight, we walk with Simone de Beauvoir. Simone de Beauvoir was born in Paris in 1908. She grew up in a bourgeois family that had lost its fortune. Her father still dressed in fine clothes and spoke of his noble lineage, but there was no money behind the performance. This gap between appearance and reality shaped de Beauvoir's vision. She learned early that the world is full of roles people play, costumes they wear, stories they tell themselves to avoid the truth. She was a brilliant student. At a time when higher education for women was still unusual, she studied philosophy at the Sorbonne. She was the 9th woman ever to receive a degree from that institution, and it was there that she met Jean-Paul Sartre, a fellow philosophy student who would become her lifelong companion. Their relationship was unconventional. They never married. They never lived together for long periods. They remained independent while sharing everything. They read each other's work, challenged each other's ideas, and remained partners until death. De Beauvoir is often remembered as a novelist, a philosopher, and a feminist. Her book, The Second Sex, published in 1949, is one of the most important works of feminist philosophy ever written. But her ideas reach far beyond feminism. She asked fundamental questions about freedom, choice, aging, death, and the meaning of a human life. Her philosophy is grounded in the everyday. She did not write about abstract concepts floating in the sky. She wrote about love, work, motherhood, friendship, ambition, and the quiet desperation that many people feel but few name. De Beauvoir's central insight is this: one is not born, but rather becomes, a woman. This sentence changed philosophy forever. It means that femininity is not a biological destiny. It is not written into the body at birth. It is something that society teaches, imposes, and enforces over time. A child is born female, but that child becomes a woman through a long process of training, expectation, and punishment. Wear this. Do not say that. Sit this way. Laugh that way. Want these things, not those things, and the same is true, de Beauvoir argued, for many other aspects of identity. We are not born with a fixed essence. We are born into a world that already has stories about who we should be, and those stories shape. US limit us and define us unless we fight back. This idea is deeply connected to existentialism. De Beauvoir believed, like Sartre, that existence precedes essence. You are not born with a predetermined purpose. You are born as a free consciousness, capable of choosing who you become. But unlike Sartre, de Beauvoir paid more attention to the obstacles that prevent people from exercising their freedom. She understood that freedom is not just an internal condition. It is also a social one. You can choose to be free in your mind. But if society refuses to give you education, employment, safety, and respect, your freedom means very little. This is the unique contribution of de Beauvoir. She brought existentialism down from the clouds and into the messy reality of daily life. She asked not only what freedom means in theory, but who gets to be free in practice. She asked not only how individuals create meaning, but how systems of power prevent some people from creating meaning at all. As you breathe slowly and feel your body settling into rest, consider for a moment the roles you have been given. Not the ones you chose. The ones that were handed to you before you could speak. Good girl. Smart one. Quiet one. Too much. Not enough. The world began telling you who you were before you had any say in the matter. And some of that stuck. De Beauvoir's philosophy is an invitation to examine those roles, to ask which of them fit and which were forced, to decide for yourself who you want to become, rather than accepting the version of you that the world has constructed. This is not easy work. It is the work of a lifetime, but it begins with a single question. Who am I when no one is watching? De Beauvoir wrote extensively about what she called the ethics of ambiguity. The word ambiguity here means something specific. It means that human life does not come with clear instructions. There is no manual. There is no authority that can tell you with certainty what is right and what is wrong. You must choose. And every choice carries the risk of being wrong. Most people do not like ambiguity. They want certainty. They want rules that tell them exactly what to do. They want to be good without having to figure out what good means for themselves. De Beauvoir understood this desire. She did not mock it, but she also refused to satisfy it. She insisted that living authentically means living with ambiguity. It means making choices without guarantees. It means accepting responsibility for your actions even when you cannot be sure you have chosen correctly. This is frightening, but it is also liberating. If there is no single right answer, then you are not constantly failing by not finding it. You are simply human, trying, sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing, always learning. De Beauvoir believed that the worst thing a person can do is to flee from their freedom, to pretend that they have no choice, to blame circumstances, biology, tradition, or God for a life they actually chose. This flight from freedom is what she called bad faith. It is the refusal to accept responsibility for your own existence. But she also recognized that some people have less freedom than others. A wealthy man who complains that he cannot change careers is in bad faith. He has resources, connections, and options. He is choosing to stay stuck, but a poor single mother with no childcare, no savings, and no support system, her lack of freedom is not bad faith. It is oppression. De Beauvoir drew a sharp line between the freedom we refuse to exercise and the freedom that has been taken from us. This is why her philosophy is both demanding and compassionate. She demands that you take responsibility for the choices you can make, but she also demands that you see clearly the ways in which others are not free, and that you work to change those conditions. As you rest here, letting your breathing slow, you do not need to solve the problem of freedom tonight. You only need to notice where in your life you have been fleeing from your own choices, and where in your life your choices have been genuinely limited by forces beyond your control. Both matter, both deserve your attention. De Beauvoir wrote a book called The Ethics of Ambiguity, in which she explored the relationship between freedom and the lives of others. She argued that my freedom is not complete unless it is shared. I cannot truly be free in a world where others are enslaved. Not because I'm selfless, because my freedom depends on a world where freedom is possible for everyone. This is a radical claim. It means that your choices are not only about you. When you choose to ignore injustice, you are not just protecting your own comfort. You are participating in a system that limits freedom. When you choose to speak up, to act, to resist, you are not just helping others. You are creating the conditions for your own deeper freedom. De Beauvoir rejected the idea that we should focus only on our own salvation. She rejected the idea that politics is dirty and that the wise person stays above the fray. She argued that engagement with the world is not a distraction from philosophy. It is philosophy. Thinking without acting is incomplete. Understanding without changing is hollow. This does not mean you must become an activist or a revolutionary. It means that you cannot claim to be free while ignoring the unfreedom of those around you. Your freedom and their freedom are tied together. Like it or not, de Beauvoir also wrote about aging. Her book, The Coming of Age, is a meditation on what it means to grow old in a society that worships youth. She noticed that old people are treated as invisible. Their wisdom is ignored. Their desires are dismissed as inappropriate. Their bodies are seen as embarrassing. They are isolated, infantilized, and forgotten. She wrote that aging is not just a biological process. It is a social betrayal. The same society that once celebrated the young person now pretends the old person does not exist. And this betrayal, de Beauvoir argued, reveals something ugly about how we value human beings. We value them for their utility, their productivity, their beauty, not for their simple existence. Her meditation on aging is a reminder that your worth is not measured by what you produce. You are valuable because you exist, not because you are young, beautiful, strong, or useful, simply because you are. This is a truth that society constantly denies. And it is a truth that de Beauvoir insisted on affirming. As you breathe deeply, let this truth settle into your bones. Your value is not conditional. It is not something you earn. It is something you are. The world will tell you otherwise. The world will tell you that you need to achieve, to perform, to impress. De Beauvoir says no. You are enough, not because of what you have done, because you are here. De Beauvoir's relationship with Sartre was one of the most famous intellectual partnerships of the 20th century. They were lovers, friends, and constant critics of each other's work. They read everything the other wrote. They debated endlessly. They pushed each other to think more clearly, write more honestly, and live more courageously. But de Beauvoir was not merely Sartre's companion. She was his equal, and in some ways, she was his superior. Her writing is more concrete, more grounded, more attentive to the texture of ordinary life, where Sartre could become abstract and technical. De Beauvoir remained clear and human. She wrote about love affairs, about motherhood, about the experience of watching her own face age in the mirror. She brought philosophy into the bedroom, the kitchen, the street. This is her genius. She showed that philosophy is not an escape from life. It is a way of living life more fully. The questions philosophers ask are not remote and academic. They are the questions you ask when you cannot sleep at night. What am I doing with my life? Do I love the people I should love? Am I free? Am I becoming who I want to become? These are de Beauvoir's questions, and they are yours. De Beauvoir died in 1986. She was buried next to Sartre in the Montparnasse cemetery in Paris. On her wrist, she wore a silver bracelet. On that bracelet, she had inscribed her philosophy in just a few words. The words were not abstract. They were not technical. They were a simple reminder of what matters. She wrote, "One must live, not one must succeed. Not one must be happy. Not one must be perfect. One must live. Because living is the project, living is the task, living is the meaning. Not a perfect life, not a painless life, a lived life, a life fully engaged, fully chosen, fully inhabited." This is de Beauvoir's final teaching. Do not wait for a permission to live. Do not wait for a certainty. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment does not exist. There is only this moment. And this one. And this one. One must live. Before you drift fully into rest, A gentle reminder. If you enjoy this exploration of Simone de Beauvoir's wisdom and wish to experience more calming, thought-provoking content, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Your support allows us to continue sharing these reflective journeys with you. Now let the quiet courage of Simone de Beauvoir carry you into sleep. The roles you were given are not your destiny. You can choose again. The ambiguity of life is not a flaw. It is the space of your freedom. The freedom of others is not separate from your own. It is its foundation. Aging is not a failure. It is a fact, and your worth does not diminish with it. One must live, not perfectly, not painlessly. Fully. Breathe in and let go. Breathe in and let go. You are here. You are becoming, and in the quiet of this night, that is more than enough. Sleep well.